Right there for the taking.
Get that stuff out of here. It's Southwest Bias.
Welcome into another edition of Southwest Bias, brought to you by our friends at the Husband and Wife Law Team. If you've had a serious injury, call the Husband and Wife Law Team first at 602-783-8841 or visit their website at the link in our show notes and tell them PHNX sent you. And we are live from Studio K. Got the point right. Brought to you by our friends at Circle K. Become a member of the Inner Circle today for free. I have to tell you, look, I've always been very open and honest with everybody on this program. That's part of my promise to you, the bias, when you show up. Being part of PHNX is a super personal thing to me because almost all of this has been my goal to do something like this since I was a kid growing up here in Phoenix. Since I was 10 years old and I listened to Al McCoy on the radio and I listened to the 620 Sports Line and I listened to 1360 that was back then, KGME, all these sports radio stations. And I watched Dan Patrick and Keith Olbermann on ESPN on SportsCenter. This is what I wanted to do. And I finally had a chance to build a home like this. And I did it at 24, and it failed. And this opportunity came up, and I had to jump at it because I knew I needed to take a shot at this one more time in my life. I was in corporate America. I could have stayed there, could have done a podcast on the side, could have made a lot of money that way. And I decided, no, I wanted to come back here and try this because I realized sometimes in life, there's an opportunity that's put in front of you and you only get that shot a handful of times if you're lucky. A small percentage of times that there is a window of opportunity and you have to kick that window open and climb through it. The Phoenix Suns have that window of opportunity right now. And now that Devin Booker and Jalen Green are no longer on the injured list, they're completely off of it. No probable, no day-to-day, no likely. No, they are completely off the injured list, which means they are 100% ready to go tonight for Dallas. And in theory, you would assume 100% likely to go tomorrow against OKC. The 2 games left before the All-Star break. The Phoenix Suns have a full roster minus Grayson Allen. But look, this is the closest to healthy they have been all year. They need to take advantage of it because in a Western Conference that was supposed to be a bloodbath, a Western Conference that was supposed to be so dominant that the Phoenix Suns were going to be in the cellar and stuck in there, they're not. There is a window of opportunity that nobody expected, and they've done it without being healthy. And now they are finally healthy. And they've lost 2 in a row. And they have been ugly games. And I will let that be for the time. Takes a little while. There were still injuries at that time. But now, these next 2 games, take advantage of the opportunity heading into the All-Star break. Because right now, as we sit 2 games from the week off, the Suns are 2.5 games back of the Nuggets in 3rd. They are two games back of the Rockets in 4th. They are 1.5 games back of Lakers in the 5 spot. They are a game back of the Timberwolves in the 6th spot. They hold the 7th spot by 2 games. You have a chance to move significantly up in the West. These teams have not been good due to injury, due to chemistry not working, Houston, due to a lot of reasons. These teams have given you an opportunity to play a huge part in the Western Conference playoff picture. You are healthy. Devin Booker, your star, is back. Jalen Green has a chance to put the pressure on the rim that you've been hoping for. Jordan Ott, who has schemed and done so many great things this season, now is dealing with most of the guys that he had that were supposed to be the foundation of an offense that he was bringing to the Valley that was supposed to be significantly better than we've seen, and it has been. They're middle of the pack right now without having their horses for most of the year. Now they've got them back. What impact will that make? Can you take advantage of the opportunity put in front of you? Because we know the dark days can come back and can come back quick. Go look at the 2013-14 team that had 48 wins, missed the playoffs by a game, did not even sniff the playoffs again until 2021. You cannot waste opportunities when they present themselves. Because if you do, you're going to look back and wonder what could have been. What could you have accomplished if you put in that little bit more work? What could you do if you had that extra basket or that extra moment, or you went out and you made that extra play? The Phoenix Suns have a huge opportunity in front of them. One that should excite them, one that should make them lock in, one that should make them raise their game to levels that we don't know if they have or not. Because guess what? That's what winners do. People who are prepared for the moment. People that are ready to go out and succeed despite the odds. Whether you are not the most talented, whether you have a roster that's depleted, whatever the case, these are the moments where some people raise their game and become great and etch their names into a space where nobody expected them to be, whether that's the playoffs, whether it's the Western Conference Finals, whether it's the finals or hoisting a Larry O'Brien trophy. Any of those, if you achieve that, are significantly more than what people expect and what some people may think you're headed towards. The Phoenix Suns can answer that. They can answer the bell. They can open that door. They can kick in that window right now. Or they can shrink in the moment. They can not find that gear. They can be a team that is a fun story, surprise the West, makes it in the play-in, and then packs their bags and head to Cancun. Now, everything we've seen is that's not these guys. Everything we've seen from Devin Booker throughout his career, that's not the way he's wired. Everything we've seen from Jordan Ott and what Matt Ishbia says he wants his team to be is not that. They are a team that will fight, will scrap, will do anything to get that advantage. And now's the time you need to see it more than ever. The Warriors, that's their footsteps right behind you. But you know what? The Timberwolves, the Lakers, the Rockets, even the Nuggets can hear your footsteps right behind them. So you're going to go out and you're going to prove yourself with a full hand, with a full roster, with everybody that you expected to have? Or will you just be a fun story and a footnote in Suns history? I think they will answer the call. I think they will go out there and this offense will start to raise the level of production based on Devin Booker's gravity, Jalen Green's ability to get to the rim, and the three-point shooting that's around them. Health becomes the biggest question mark yet again. Can we get through a second game with Jalen Green staying healthy? And then if you get to a third, you know what that is? A winning streak with Jalen Green on the court. They have the opportunity to do what we think was the impossible at the beginning of the season. And I expect them to raise their game. I expect them to reach Devin Booker's level. I expect Jalen Green to raise everybody else's level. I think this team will take advantage of exactly what's in front of them. But maybe that's just my Southwest bias. We welcome in the dreads behind the desk. Kevin, how are you, my friend?
Espo, I'm not going to lie. It's sunny in this little screen here, but it's cloudy over here. Arizona's no longer undefeated. I don't know how to reconcile with it, Espo.
Let's try to give you a positive spin. I know I don't always. I'm not the captain of positivity always. We know that, but I think it's a good thing. It wasn't like you lost to ASU at home by 40. You lost to a very good team, a top 15 team, on their home court, a team that has history, right? So one loss before going into the tournament is not a bad thing. I actually think in some ways that will help the Arizona Wildcats in their chase for the Final Four and a championship, because great, an undefeated season, you know what that gets you? Some applause right now. A championship, that gets you everything that you want. Does that help you feel a little bit better?
No, yeah, I think you're right. I really just enjoyed our back and forth that we have on Southwest Bias, where you welcome me in and I say, Espo, life is perfect. My team is winning. I got Koa Pete. And then last night, Koa Pete stunk it up, and we lost in Kansas. But yeah, no, you're actually right. We're going to talk about that more in the pod later, but it's going to be okay. They're going to be better from this. Tommy Lloyd said last night, the season starts now.
You don't think he walks in and goes, Koa, you ever want to see that kind of performance again? Go watch that tape. You think about that. If that happens in March, we're going home.
Literally.
There ain't no dancing.
Literally. No Darren Peterson either, because I don't know. I heard that he checked the schedule and saw that it was Arizona, not Arizona State, coming to town, and he instantly got physically ill. And they said, he has flu-like symptoms. When in reality, he hasn't played against Duke, he hasn't played against UConn, and now he's not played against Arizona. I've been the number one Darren Peterson defender in this office, Espo, for a while. It's getting hard to defend the man. He doesn't play against the top teams. He played against Texas Tech, to his credit, and played well. But yeah, Arizona lost last night without Darren Peterson. So.
Guess what? I think you look at it, and there is a very good chance you can get revenge on Kansas in the Big 12 tournament.
February 28th, Espo, in Tucson.
Well, I mean, you could get it there too. But I think the tournament, the Big 12 tournament, would be bigger revenge. Hopefully, you get it the February win. But you know what? Give me the tournament win, because isn't that back in Kansas? Don't they play that in?
I think so. Kansas City. Yeah, I think so.
That might be Missouri, but it's same difference. Close enough to them. Home court advantage. Beating them in the Big 12 tournament, it would be sweet revenge. What do you make of the Suns, though? I mean, you want to talk about a team that's kind of hanging in the balance. I think we are at the point that will determine how far they go. Do you think they answer the bell now that they have a full squad?
I sure hope so, Espo, because like you said in the cold open, or the monologue, so to speak, right? Like, this is kind of a now or never thing. Like, you finally have the group together. You've learned about how fragile this group can be, especially with the way that some of the health has gone this season. So you should have an added level of push. You should have an added level of, we need to capitalize on this group while we have it. It's not always how it goes, as we know. Sometimes it just doesn't happen, but I do feel like Devin Booker, especially the way his season has been going, it's not been a very classic Devin Booker season, and I'm sure he feels a little bit of extra motivation to get it right with Jalen Green. But I have a question for you, Espo.
Yes, fire away.
What are the actual expectations for this team now, realistically? Because I've said for I think 5 years now, dating back to those Nets teams and with KD and Harden or whatever, they're year one of a new group, I feel like rarely works out the way that people think it's going to. And this is not working out for health reasons right now or whatever. And they can get this back on track, and it can be oh my God, Booker and Jalen Green, incredible dynamic duo. But what do you think the expectations for that duo should be going forward this year? Because it's year one of it. It's hard to.
I think it has to be somewhat tempered. I'm not going to lie. It can't be. It can't be an expectation that they're going to come out and they're going to be world beaters, because there's going to take time to adjust. But for me, it's I think you're going to have to see it evolve over the next few weeks, and then the expectation should be by the time you get to the playoffs or the play-in that they haven't figured out how they can work together. That's if Jalen Green stays healthy, and then the offense has to figure out that dynamic. And that's, to me, that's the only way it's going to work. That's the only way that they're going to be able to do it. And you can't expect them to go out and and change things automatically, right? And impact it. Like the expectation is Jalen Green's going to come in. It's going to change your rim pressure. Everything's going to be better. You're not going to be 28th in rim pressure. You're going to be like 10th in rim pressure after that point. You can't expect that. It's going to take time for them to adjust. But in the final 10 games, you better see exactly what this offense is supposed to look like with these guys and where they can be, because I know that it feels good to look at things and go, okay, we're a surprise team. But being a surprise team isn't where they should want to be at this point. And I know it's not where the team wants to be. They want to be in the top 6. They want to make noise. I think right now the hope should be that you can win a first-round series if you were at full health. That should be what you're hoping for. Now, I'm glad for this ride. I'm excited for this ride. I'm glad that you have Devin Booker and Jalen Green together. But I have that slightly upgraded expectation that I want to see that. That's where you should want to be. And then you should want to use that as a jumping off point. Don't take it for granted, because it is a fleeting moment. Like I worked the first 2 seasons I worked with the Suns, it was like 33 wins, 48 wins, didn't make the playoffs. And then I never even sniffed it again in the 5 years I was there, or the 5 subsequent years where I just podcasted away from the team. Don't overlook a chance that you have to do something. And I don't think this team will. And I think Devin Booker and Jalen Green will try to figure that out along the way. A big shout out to all the bias in the chat. Connor, Kara, Ja, JD, N Stacker, everybody that's in there. Hello as well.
We have a question from the bias.
What do we got? What is Booker's 3-point percentage going to look like after the All-Star break? He's going to win the 3-point contest, and he's going to shoot 39% the rest of the way.
Wow.
That is optimism. Now, I think it's probably going to be like 34, 35% the rest of the way, depending on how Jalen inserts himself into the offense. But you know what? I hope that it's better than that. I also saw a couple other things as well. And Connor says, when a player on the roster gets injured, the player who steps in has to play a different role. And I think this is a key, because for the Suns, you're going to get guys like Colin Gillespie to get able to shift back into who he's supposed to be, that super 6 man, and that'll help. I think that is something that will be important to them. And Slacker says, I don't know about you guys, but my feeling since the last few games we lost has changed. I hope I'm wrong, but I think they're going to lose a lot more games. I hope that's not the case. It's 2 games. The last game, weird trying to adjust with Booker and Jalen back. I got to see some spark over the next 2, and then the stretch run begins after the All-Star break. Big thank you to all the bias. Hit that like button if you're in here. Hit that join button if you have not already become a Supporters Club member. And let me say this to you. Thank you to each and every one of you that got us to 50,000 subscribers here on the YouTube page. A huge moment for PHNX, and you heard me off the top how important that this place is to me. It is to the entire staff, and it's nothing without you and everyone out there who has made this possible. Thank you for subscribing. If you haven't already, please do it. It means a lot to each of us, and we're on the path to 60K now, and we want to do it by the middle of the year. July, we'd love to be to 60K or past that, so help us get there. On the other side of halftime, I'm welcoming in DLLS's Mavs expert as the Suns take on the Mavs, Bobby Carella, right after this. See, all those things are true, but it's not just that, because about Window Depot. You hear window, you think, well, they can help me change out my 1-pane windows for dual-pane windows. They can help with my energy efficiency. All those things are true, but it's not just that, because they are more than just a window store. You're looking for flooring? Well, guess what? If you're in Tucson, they already have it. And if you're up here in the Valley, they're going to have it soon. They'll be able to help you there. But it's not just that. It's countertops, it's cabinets, it's sinks. It's everything that you need to redo a kitchen, a bathroom, even other rooms in your house. I'm looking at it. I've told you about it. Looking at redoing a bathroom, hoping to do it. They've been here since 2002. I was a senior in high school when they arrived in Arizona. So you know that they've been here a very long time, because I do not look anything like I looked back then. So you're going to want to make sure that you take care of your home with our friends at Window Depot. You can stop by one of their 7 Arizona locations and find out for yourself why they're more than just a window store. And got to tell you about the husband and wife law team. A serious accident that involves a serious injury or wrongful death is nothing to take lightly. You're already dealing with tragedy or pain in your life, and you need to do the research when it comes to lawyers, because you don't want more of it. And when you do that research, you're going to find that the husband and wife law team, Mark and Alexis Breyer, are exactly where you need to be, because they are prepared to go to trial if it's necessary. They're ready to help you out. Your lawyer is available to you when you call, so you can get answers. Plus, they are part of only 1% of lawyers in the Arizona bar that are certified when it comes to wrongful death and serious injury. You want lawyers that are going to take care of you and have your best interest in mind, and that is the husband and wife law team. So if you've had a serious injury, call the husband and wife law team first at 602-783-8841, or visit their website at the link in our show notes and tell them PHNX sent you. Welcome back. Big thanks to Lil Wayne for doing the halftime show. I mean, Kevin said, I want Lil Wayne. We said, hey, let's make some calls. And he performed halftime, and it was great. I hope everybody on YouTube enjoyed that. I've heard that, some of you actually get the halftime show, and I'm so glad that you do. Right now, we're going to welcome in a man who can tell us all about the Dallas Mavericks, the Suns' opponent tonight. DLLS is Bobby Carella. Bobby, how are you, my friend?
Espo, I'm good, man. Congrats on 50K.
Thank you so much. I got to ask a question from the bias in the chat. Hello wants to know, now that Luke is a Laker, can you admit that he's a hoe?
All right. I thought that we were friends. I wanted to get this off on the right note, but dude, I'm afraid I got to go. My phone is ringing in the other room. It was a lot of fun.
I'm kidding. I know that's a sore subject, and I feel for you guys. Even though I hated him as a Suns fan, I did hate the way that a certain general manager did you guys dirty. I want to start here, though, before we get to the game. There is a report from our friend Mark Stein, who's suggesting that the previous owner, Mark Cuban, and an investment group may make a run at trying to reacquire the Mavericks. Is that something that excites the fans out there, or is that just something you go, it sounds nice, but probably not in practice?
It definitely excites the fan. I don't know how realistic it is. For Mark to post something about it implies that there is some level of legitimacy, right? Nico obviously was public enemy number 1 among every Mavs fan under the sun for the last year or so. Now that he's out of the picture, Patrick Dumont and Miriam Adelson are the new public enemy. And so if Mark Cuban is going to come in and, with some unnamed billionaires and buy this thing back, I think that would excite a lot of Mavs fans, but there are a lot of Mavs fans that also still have hard feelings for Mark for selling the team in the first place. So there's like multiple steps of apologies. It's like a 12-step program. Stein calls it the 77 stages of grief. Like, we still got a long way to go to get over everything that happened. But, importantly for me, if this does happen, it would at least mean that there is someone in some level of power that is invested in like the goodness of the franchise and doing the right thing for the team, as opposed to just making money. And spiritually, that does mean something to me. It doesn't mean everything, but it would at least help, soothe some of the pain that I've been experiencing.
Well, Bobby, both of us worked in the NBA for our respective franchises at one point, so we've seen how the sausage is made. Can I put on my tinfoil hat here and give you a little theory?
Absolutely.
All right. So my theory is the league forced the sale of the Mavericks in order to make the Luka trade, to make the Lakers better, with the promise that your current ownership group's going to get the Las Vegas team. Mark's going to be able to come back in, play hero with Dallas, and then all is set right with the world because you got Cooper Flagg and Mark back. Does that sound like something that could be palatable to you?
I mean, that is quite a theory. I'm not going to lie, dude. Like, I've heard a lot of whispers about who the owners of the inevitable Vegas team will be. And, Miriam Adelson and Patrick Dumont were never among them. But I can't help but think the fact that The expansion vote was announced about 3 hours before Stein came out with his report. I can't help but think it is a little connected. Like, I don't know. I don't want to take crazy pills. I'm a totally normal, insane person, okay? Don't put me on any lists, all right? Don't monitor me or my movements or my lines of communication, but it does raise my antenna a little bit. I'm not going to lie.
Don't worry, All City's already monitoring you and following you everywhere you go. Don't worry. Let's talk Suns Mavs tonight. What the hell is going on with the Mavs? We saw AD get traded. We know Cooper Flagg has turned into what everybody had hoped. He's showing flashes of that greatness. What should Suns fans expect tonight with the Dallas Mavericks in town?
The Suns fans should expect a win. The Mavs are, I think, pretty fully invested in going 0-30 the rest of the way and trying to get a good pick. But, one thing that I've appreciated about the Suns this year is the same thing that I've appreciated about watching the Mavs, which is both these teams just bust their butts every single second of every single game. And, that ethos, for all of the good things that we feel about Luka, the big knock against the Mavs during the Luka era was that sometimes they would just kind of just not have the juice. They just wouldn't bring, that want to the gym every single night. And you can't say that about this year's Mavs team. And, despite them having a very lousy record, they've taken a lot of really good teams all the way to the brink, and they've already beaten Denver a couple times. They've beaten Houston a couple times. They took OKC down to basically the last shot of the game early in the year. And so I wouldn't expect the Suns to just waltz in and win by 20 or anything like that. But, if you don't match the Mavs' energy level and if you don't match Najee Marshall's freak, you don't get nasty on the glass with Musa Cisse, and, if you don't get physical with Coop, who's just going to attack the rim every single time down the floor, the Mavs will beat you, or they'll at least have you up against the ropes. So you're going to have to squirt your way out of it, in the fourth quarter. So, if I'm a Suns fan, I'm expecting a win tonight, but I'm expecting to sweat because, that's what the Mavs want to make you do.
Has Jason Kidd accepted the idea of tank? Has he downshifted in some of those fourth quarters, or is this your quiet tanking by the talent around Cooper Flagg not being enough? Because we've seen some teams overtly do it lately. Are the Mavs one of those teams?
Not yet. I'm counting the days until they do. There's been a lot of shame and shamelessness in the NBA these days. The Mavs haven't quite descended to that depth yet, but they also haven't really had the opportunity to. I'd say the closest thing was the other night against San Antonio. Cooper Flagg has been dealing with this bum left shoulder the whole season. It was like the third or fourth game of the year. He got tied up with Isaiah Hartenstein, and ever since then, if he takes a hit to his left shoulder, he's grabbing it, and he has a hard time raising it, has a hard time shooting. And so in the second half of that game against the Spurs, San Antonio opened up like a 15, 20-point lead pretty early in the third quarter. Coop left the game and did not come back in. The rest of the starters still played a lot, but Coop didn't. So, I think we're starting to trend a little closer to, if it's a 12-point deficit in the third quarter, come down and get some rest. But if it's a close game, Coop's regularly been getting 36, 38 minutes, sometimes even 40. They are playing to win. It's just, they usually get undone by signs of inexperience. Najee Marshall and Coop are sharing point guard duties. Neither of those guys is a point guard, so usually some costly turnovers will hurt them, or they don't have a lot of shooting, so someone just bricks an open three on the possession to win the game, or they have some size on defense, but they don't have the foot speed, and so teams that have quick guards, especially guards with the quick first step, can just blow right past them, with the game on the line. So it's usually just little tiny mistakes that add up right at the very end that cost them, because they play a bunch of clutch games. They haven't figured out a way to win them yet.
Do you still have connections over in the organization from your time?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you do me a favor and call them and ask them if they can start today? Since you're waiting for them to officially slide in, that today would be a nice day for the tank to officially start. So.
Well, what's funny is more than one person has asked me if the rumor about the team being sold really is true. So they're trying to use me. I'm trying to use them. I'll try and make y'all happy. I'll do what I can.
I appreciate that. That's what we do here at All City. That's why, we knew Dallas was coming online. That's why we gave you the win in Game 7 a handful of years ago. Had nothing to do with COVID or anything else. We were just trying to be good future partners here. Any last things that Suns fans should know about the Mavs going into tonight's game?
The Mavs two-way guys this year have been revelations. Ryan Nembhard, Moussa Cisse, both of them have been really good. And it's just weird for me to talk about that because coming in the season, the players on the team were openly talking about winning a title. And a couple months later, we're talking about how these two-way guys sure seem interesting. So, Mavs fans are very sad. We've been through a lot the last year. I know that we once had a great rivalry. It was very toxic online. It was wonderful. Some of the people in the chat might actually know me from getting into spats with Suns Twitter personalities back in the day. But
you and
I've laid down my
did.
sword. I have nothing but respect for all of you. We've been through the ringer. Please go easy on us. That is all I'm asking. It's let's just be friends. We're stronger together than we are divided.
I tried to match Bobby's freak. I hope I did. Bobby, thanks so much for your time today. Good luck tonight until the fourth quarter.
Yeah, thank you, man. Please win. Please beat the Mavs. Please, I'm begging you.
We will do our best. He's Bobby. You can follow him over on DLLS Mavs. That is another edition of Southwest Bias in the books. Thank you for joining us today. A big thank you to the dreads behind the desk. Kevo, you can follow him at Kevo Posts. You can follow the show at PHNX_sports. And you can follow me at Espo. And remember, you only get so many opportunities in life. So Suns, take advantage of it. Ahoy, hoy.
We all silly like the mayor.